Hey guys, Crusty Old Crow here, doing another one of his TCCCs by the Crow's Customs Creations, or Customs Corners, or whatever you want to go. C can go a long way, like C can matter for anything. Characters, creations, customs, there's lots. However, I've settled on the Crow's Customs Creations, and I did that to be ironic because the military time, I am qualified tactical combat casualty care because of my time with Afghanistan. And that's what this little bandana wrapped around my noggin's all about. I mentioned in a previous video why I like Tunnel Rat Night Force variant so much was because with the dark colors, that bandana reminded me of this one. And this one, really quick story, was me going out on my last operation in Afghanistan in 2007, launching at a Massamgar. And I'm really pissed off looking a little bit. I'm not having a great week because I was supposed to have gone home about 5 days ago at this point. I had missed my chopper because there was some confusion over how quickly we were going to cross-load offloading troops out of this chopper to onloading troops, how many choppers were going to come in over the period of the day, because we were a forward operating base, so helicopters were, it was a tricky situation. You didn't always want helicopters going out to your forward operating bases because it wasn't like a main base like Kandahar Airfield or Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. A forward operating base is exactly what it sounds like. It's like an isolated outpost that we built into a small base, but we're surrounded by the local populace, right? So a helicopter just going in with no support wasn't always a great idea. So this bandana has some sentimental meanings to me that I've kept over the years. But anyways, that's enough of that story. Talking about sentimental meanings, it's Steeler that I did for my conversion because the Mobat was, to me, the very first time a toy ever amazed me with its RC and how it made sense in this tank ever moving forward and all these little functions, but it was a tank and it was clearly a very cool tank. I remember that. And it had this crew commander with this strange apparatus on his head, but he also had like an Uzi, like Snake Eyes, right? And this thing was called the Mobat, and it showed you set up your books, kids, and it'll climb over your books. And I thought, that's a great thing, I have lots of books. And it did, it climbed over my effing books. Amazing. But Steeler was part of that original first wave, whether you want to classify them as such or not, because of coming with a vehicle. Classified will delve into vehicles, but they've delved into drivers or vehicle crew without vehicles in Copperhead and Covergirl before. So Steeler, to me, needs to come out. And the Crow, I want that 82 line completed, so I am willing to do my own fun with it, right? So, or maybe I'll take a bite of ice cream and I'll explain why. I had a surgery yesterday, hernia surgery. I don't know if any of you are old enough or have experience with angular hernias, but it required a fix the other day. So I was pretty laid up, and I'm on some pain meds right now. Well, I'm good to go. But so Ralph Polacki, pardon me while I put my glasses on, and I'm gonna move you up and let you. Oh, first I gotta do something with him first. I don't like the way he is right now. I gotta change him so that I can make a bigger deal about it later. But Ralph Polacki is a qualified tank commander, but he's armored fighting vehicle crew commanders. So he can do a lot of different vehicles, guys. Pardon me while you look at my beautiful track pants. There we go. So I'm going to read you this file card. We're going to go have a look at them, and I'm going to talk about my concepts on my Steeler. So he's, where is he from? He's from Pittsburgh, PA. Okay, and he is secondary military specialty is artillery and transportation. Okay, that comes into what I have him doing right now, anyways, in my classified and in my plans with some of my other projects. But his primary military specialty, armor. Ooh-ah. So I wanted to show you, this is my beret from back in the day, the Lord Strathcona horse. It's a black beret. It's the armored beret. Okay, and yeah, that was I loved having my black beret. But that's my connection to Steelers. We're qualified the same stuff. I'm qualified AFV crew commander, and I'm qualified tank commander. He is as well, and artillery. His is a fictitious qualification based through Joe Privilege, and my artillery qualifies as I can call for fire and I can coordinate fire with artillery assets on an infantry or armored or recce based level. That's about it. And ask me to do it now. I've been out for a little while, guys. It's called skill fade. But then there's my other hat that I dug out. Clearly, I came across some of my old kit today. So yeah, he's from a blue collar middle class background. He put himself through college and through ROTC scholarship, and worked as a heavy equipment operator, familiar and proficient with all NATO and Warsaw Pact AFVs, armored fighting vehicles. Graduated armored school, top of class. Special training, cadre, ex-AFV project. So I think when we say cadre for it, it means he's teaching it or training other armored staff on how to be crew commanders, right? It could also be a more elite AFV program. I don't know. Project, yeah, the cadre ex-AFV project, pardon me. Artillery school, AFV desert exercise. Covert ops schools, and he's a qualified expert M16, M1911A, A1, Mac 10, and Uzi. All right, so a lot of yelling about, well, not yelling, but who all gets an Uzi these days? And Joe, it's like everybody. Pardon me, I gotta eat my medical ice cream. If there's two weapons I keep seeing repeated in Joe, it's the idea of the shotgun and the Uzi. Cobra, the Tomac Saymont. Yeah, the two of them came with gold Uzis in the Crimson Strike. There's a bunch of snake guys with Uzis. Now they want Steeler with Uzi. I couldn't blame them for taking the Mac 10 off of Mutt when they did the new design. It had a silencer on it, and that makes no sense for a dog handler to have a silencer on his gun. Him and his dog aren't a pair of ninjas sneaking up on people, like I said. So most of this makes sense. Young Reckless often clashes with authority, superior officers. But he's one tough soldier. Yeah, I could buy it. Maybe I've got a bias for those armored guys, but I'm going to show you mine. And we'll go from there. So... how does this work for me? There we go. So this is my Steeler, and one of different forms of himself. I shouldn't say forms of himself. That doesn't sound very right. I've got a couple of options on this guy. So right now you see him holding that sawed-off shotgun because right now I have him as the active gunner for my hovercraft. And when I get that built, he'll be the gunner for it because I don't have a Mobat. Does that mean I'll never have a Mobat? No, it just means I haven't found one to do a good conversion out of right now. Right now, that's the best tank in my fleet, and it's not very big, right? But if I could find one on the right scale for classified, I'd absolutely do it. But he's got the red patch to denote that it's a variant, and it's my RDC variant, which is the Red Devil Company. Anyways, enough about those guys. What I did with this guy, what was included with this guy. So you see him, he's got the gung-ho hat. I just did a repaint on that, and some tricks with that. I'm going to see if I can get the light on that a bit better. Pardon me, guys. I have these pencils that I use for this hobby. Oh my god, this light stand is just balls. Balls, I say. There we go. I'm going to take the phone out. Guys, clearly... just gonna bash on with this. Okay, so this hat that I did was Gung Ho's hat from the earlier in the line. I just gave it some dry brushes. I just see now that my pencil hit the lid. That's fine. I'll do a little touch-up, cover-up on that. But the thing I didn't do is I didn't paint the inside of it, right? Because I didn't want it rubbing off on his head at all. And I haven't done a protector and seal on this yet. I'm doing that this week. I have a couple of figures I have to catch up on. Like, I got to get the protector and seals on some of these better. Some of them have a temporary like hand brushed one on there, but I want to put a spray one on, a matte one, just to help keep it from banging up when I'm reposing them. And the thing is, I'm going to be honest, guys, when I do a kit bash or a repaint or anything like that, reposing is probably a bit limited by comparison to, say, a figure I didn't paint, right? And I think that's to be expected as I'm learning how to do this a bit more and more each time, right? So let's go. Oh, there's that sign that reminds you to like, share, subscribe, and hit the comments when you have something to say. I am a channel that's trying to grow just for the point of giving things away. I'm retired. I don't need much. I certainly don't need to be the next anything past 300. Let's go 350 so I could do my next contest, and we'll see what happens. Anyways, yeah, so do that. But with TCCC, I try to focus on the who, what, why, where, when, and things like that. So Steeler Armored Tank Commander, I figured he would be not as dirty as, say, what I did with my bull earlier, dusted him right up and everything like that. He'd have a bit of dirt on his boots, but he's sitting in a vehicle the whole time, so not really dirty. But I'm going to go down the head and tell you where that came from. So this head I got on him there would be, if you watch my videos before, this was the ultimate destination, always was, always will have been, for Kid Omega's head from the X-Men, or Marvel Legends X-Men series, this guy, right? And I looked into trying to save those glasses, but it was like this weird thing that they, whatchamacallit, one, they made it look, when you look at the box, it almost looks like there was a lens in there, but there isn't. These are just pink frames, jelly frames, like your daughter's gummy Shopkins collection or something. Anyways, it was inset into the nose, and I had to replace a piece of the nose to get by it. But the rest of the body I thought was a great, just little test subject body for adding kit to and seeing what I can create out of that. And I have a really good, I think, premise on what I'm doing with it. But I almost am going to miss that hot pink. I was never a fan of hot pink, but hot pink on black with the right minimalist approach ain't a terrible thing, I thought. That was an interesting character to work with. But of course, when I'm dealing with my Steeler, like I said, that Brad Pitt haircut from Fury was basically the worst trend that ever hit my regiment, and I went with it. Now, the bandage on his nose is clearly the cover-up I was talking about, right? Could I have tried to smooth out a proper nose? Sure, it would have taken me longer. I could have tried. I didn't do much for flesh washing here. I didn't really put in the FaceTime on this one because I had other areas I wanted to focus on. But I decided to go with the bandage on the nose for a very specific reason. We in the Armored have a nickname to the other trades call us, the infantry and the artillery and the engineers. They have a nickname for us, and it is zipper heads. And the reason we are called zipper heads is because it is not uncommon to meet a veteran armored soldier who has a massive scar that running down some portion of his face or across his jaw or across his nose, things like that. It's called hatch plate. And hatch plate, oh, I just noticed where I missed some pink right in there. Oh, I'll have to get that. Oh, no pink dye. That's not what's on your ID card. So yeah, hatch plates where you were driving, and if you're up in the turret as the crew commander or the gunner or the loader of the tank, let's say, and you aren't paying attention to where your driver's going, you look down at your map for a second, or you reach to get something in, your driver hits something that bottoms you out. Everything in the tank turret is designed to break your nose at a minimum when that happens, or your teeth. Nothing is forgiving inside a tank turret. Between the gun can take your arm clean off, and everything else could put a dent in your skull, stitches in your skin, and break your spirits. They're ruthless machines, and I love them. But yeah, I thought him getting hatch bite across the nose made perfect sense for that. So I said, you know what, screw it, we're keeping it. I liked the head because there was so much posability. I had to use a different neck for this one, and it was the Snake Eyes Origins, or this whole figure is, pardon me, I shouldn't say was the Snake Eyes Origins. It's not Snake Eyes Origins at all. It's Desert Commando Snake Eyes, which I just clearly repainted, right? And just basically did my own thing with this kit. I don't think those are his legs though. Maybe they are. I'd have to see what I'm using on my short fuse right now. But generally, I didn't want to do a whole lot with them. I took Grunt's holster. I'm not sure if those are nunchucks gloves. Whose gloves they are? I'm having a problem with the hands anyways. I don't think I grabbed with the right hands at the last minute. They're not fitting very well, and I think I mixed them up. So it's just a matter of finding the right hands. But those, if they are, it's just maybe I heated it wrong, but not worried about it. I made an attempt at some freehand camouflage on a kind of a black dry fit feel to the uniform a little bit on top. It's not supposed to be dry fit, it was just meant to simulate it. And that leather that I was doing, it's like a lot of dry brush and then wash, and I left it blotchy like for a reason. To me, that brown harness around him kind of looks a bit greasy, and I wanted it to look a bit greasy for the reason that he's probably been polishing it bored in his vehicle or something, you know, putting some fine polish on it. My regiment is a horse regiment. We're pride ourselves on our brass and our leather, so guys take care of both, right? So things like that. But as far as other little adds I did to him, so I've got the red patch, but I didn't put anything on that red patch yet. Not like what I did over here with the bull one and with my other RDCs. They all have a red patch for the most part. I don't think Zap has a red patch though yet. I haven't made one for him because I'm not convinced he's RDC. I think he's just OG Joe. But the red patch is part of that whole Red Devils brigade thing I was talking about, where I'm doing my own, right? I've talked about that at great lengths, but it's a shame about the Red Devils Brigade and Joe's, right? Because that's the perfect place for somebody like Beachhead, is to end up with I'm gonna have to get a Beachhead 3D print stuff and make one for my RDC, because it's kind of like he was always saying he wanted to be there. I based it off my RDC off these guys, the Red Devils Brigade, which was a U.S. and Canadian task force in World War II, right? So I was like, yeah, red patch on anything I put RDC. So Steelers got it. What else did I do? I thought this was fun. I don't know if I could get it any clearer than this, but I'll try. Let me put my hand the way that I saw in one of our friends' videos. All right, well, either way, on his wrist, all of that chicken scratch, and I've got to try and show it to you. It took literally a minute to do, but it was so much fun to try and do it, because it's exactly what I would have done in the turret if I had a gauntlet like that for no good reason. I pictured it as his contact report pad. So on there, I hope I can get some better pictures of that. Anyways, there's contact reports for rats, hiss, troops, and I think fangs. He's just written the grids of what he's heard on the radio onto his wrist pad. I always used this or a variant of that for this very reason. I would write my contact reports on there. So for Steeler, he wears that arm plate armor on the hovercraft as its gunner, and he's writing down contact reports on that wrist in his grease pencil or marker, right? I thought that was his little, what do you call it, flair or whatever, personality thing, I guess. For guns, you see I gave him that double-barreled shotgun I got in the McFarlane set. And yeah, just 1 second here. Let me put you down and look at me. Look at me while I fix this gun. Look at me while I fix this gun. Look at me. Stop hitting me. All right, so there we go. It's, yeah, That's the CoverGirl gun. I just put that one on until I can see what I get from the other 3D prints. And there goes the hand. Look at me while I pick up the hand. Look at me while I pick up the hand. I'm going to move them down here so we can talk a little bit more casually about the way that's gone. So, don't tilt the light. I got to sit down as well, guys. My whole thing's bothering me here. So, before I forget, reminder, don't forget to buy a veteran. Hasbro, you can buy a veteran like me for about a tidy sum of all the figures I want and access to, some people would ask for money. I would just say, pay me in figs, pay me in vehicles. We're good. This is awesome. No, if you know any veterans and they've got a business, just support the veterans with the business. I thought about doing it myself, but I don't think I'm going to. I think this is really all I just really enjoy doing is talking about Joe and painting. Painting Joe ideas. So with Steeler, I wanted a last minute bit of desert pattern on there, like a little bit of Cad Pat. I'm not a big fan of doing a lot of camouflage patterns. I'd rather see good color sets than camouflage patterns. So I just kept it limited to the fabric under the armor plate, but not on the armor plate, and where the black isn't, and the off brown there. So it was just really the belly, a bit of the sleeves, and then some of the back would get a little bit of camouflage treatment. Everything else is an olive brown or a flat black, or let's see, what other colors did we use on there? Sand brown, or sand yellow, pardon me. Yeah. And then there was an ochre brown, I believe is the other ones. Ochre brown and a couple others. And then I was playing with some washes. So the leg holster is, I believe, also Glint's, but the weapon I gave him just for shits and giggles here was, where did I put all the guns? Up here. Oh, they're there. So I had a couple of choices, and I'm not sure I narrowed it down or not. Like I said, I am expecting some 3D printed parts pretty soon from our good friend Loki Wartooth, and I am getting a order all set to give him the next couple of projects to work on, where maybe I just get some 3D printed parts. Like I said, when I'm trying to do my conversions, I'm trying a lot of different ways. I'm watching YouTube videos on how some other guys go about it. I'm picking up the odd tips, and I'm going to try that this time and that this time. And so I'm already working on one that's very different than how I approached this one. And 3D printed parts are just another different way, but they also help you out in a crux. Yeah, that's definitely gotta do something about that hand. I'm just not pushing it in tightly enough, I think, because either way, it's not going to be the end of the world. But this is not the features I wanted to show you, obviously, without my fingerprints or anything like that. But we'll get that on there, and then I'll show you the feature I did want to show you. All right. So I had that gung-ho hat that I showed you. I'll put that back on just for a second, if I can see where I put it this time. And the other weapons I was looking at, well, I had CoverGirl's pistol. Geez, why not just use her shotgun too, eh, buds? Well, I mean, I didn't go that far off by having the double barrel shotgun, but I figure that's a cool piece of kit. He just keeps it as near his gunner's seat, and it's just for boarding parties, like anti-boarding things for the hovercraft. It's not really the weapon of choice I have from. As I told you guys, I do want to have a little compact weapon that can be slung right about here, and if I can rig that, I will add it, but it's not critical. But it would be the nice to have. The hat was fun, but I'm not committed to keeping it because I like the other option I have better. But I'll show you that the Kid Omega also had this big shotgun, Gatling gun kind of thing. I am going to try and do a conversion of some type with this, but not for this kind of stuff. The part that I was looking at for now is this is a more practical kind of gun for him. It's just that I would cut the stock clean off that and just sling it. That would be about it. And I chose that one just because the mags are compatible. And he does have a mag pouch on there, so I figured why not, right? But I might also go this way with it and just give him the Mac 10, but this one's slightly bigger. This is the McFarlane one. And quite honestly, without the detachable magazine, like if the, for once you're hearing me sing the praise of a classified detachable magazine. If they had the detachable magazine, perhaps I would be able to do something with this Mac 10, but I really can't. And it looks, with the paint job it is, I don't want to repaint that. I'm just going to throw that back to the Dreadnoks. I'm still pretty much on that until I see what 3D parts I get. But the part that I'm most proud of, again, just like when I did my Bull figure, and it's not even on him now, but the helmet features, I always try to put a feature on one of these guys somewhere, right? For Bull, it was the Crow Thumper. For Night Owl, it was that custom stock Uzi, but Cad Pat Uzi, and the vest, really. And for Zap, it was just the fact that it was fucking Zap, right? No, it was the helmet and giving him a reasonable loadout, getting him represented. So the custom feature for Steeler, really, I thought was probably the Band-Aid on the nose. And it's not going to be the hat. Let me just put this back over here, and I'll put that custom feature on it. Once again, like Bull, it is this helmet, but there's so much going on with this helmet that I gotta tell you about, just because it was so much fun to put together. And I got a little carried away, I think, but no, probably not. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Yeah, okay. So this is the bump helmet I went with for Steeler. It's about as tank commandery as I could get. And it's got the devil patch on there, just like with that light looks horrible right on it though. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dull that patch down a little bit, but I wanted to have that same devil patch that's on Bull's shoulder. This is the other one I had of that, so it went on his helmet. That is an X-Wing pilot helmet from this kit right here. This Merrick pilot from the movie Rogue One, Antok Merrick. His pilot, you see that massive centerpiece ridge that goes across the top of the helmet? I had to shave that down, so you'll see where I did some green stuff, like a dust cover across a very wide bracket for this. What I have is a monocle here, but it's again that metallic paint on the monocle that I've got going on there. Did I just drop that hat? Of course I did. Crow, you suck ass. No, it wasn't the hat I dropped. It was something irrelevant. Doesn't matter. Anyways, so the helmet, besides the decal, I had to shave all that down, but I took a massive chunk of it and laid it perpendicular to its original course to represent like a hard protection for his headphones on his crew helmet, right? I added a headset piece, and if you look very carefully with the red tip, we'll see if we can see that in this light. Very carefully, if you look at that headset piece, you'll slowly come to realize, if you are a Star Wars tabletop gaming fan, that I did in fact use the head of a Federation droid, Roger, to do my mouthpiece. Go fig. Right, so that's why I say it's like a kit bash conversion, repaint, whatever. It's the Crow's way of doing things. I guess kit bash beyond the rules. I don't know. Are there rules with kit bashing? I don't think so. Anyways, the yellow lens is actually what is under all that paint. Anyways, that whole helmet is just yellow transparent plastic. That's how the Star Wars line is able to do those X-Wing visors and TIE Fighter or whatever, or fancy helmet pieces. Yeah, it was cut away and learn. And that's how I'm learning how to do this, guys. Is I'll sacrifice a piece, and sometimes it'll pay off, sometimes it won't, but usually it's paid off. And like I said, I throw out nothing because you never know when it's going to serve another purpose, right? Again, that back cluster of tech there, I figure that's his tactical and situational awareness headset booster on the back. I just left that as a brown, like a Velcro patch on kind of thing. But that's all droid parts as well from that same figurine. I just, waste nothing. If you can find enough small details and think of it in a different light, look at it from different angles, it'll come, right? So that's pretty much it. I'm still trying to give you a better read on those grids, but they're proper 8-figure grids, and if you could really get in close, it's done with a really cool pen, guys. These anime pens for Gundam. I got a really fine point one. Not sure where I said it last, of course, because I didn't think I'd be mentioning it in the video. But those things are amazing for just writing in little details. However, I'm not sure about when I put a protectorant coat on that, if it's going to smear that. I'm going to wait a few days before I put the protectorant on there to see if that ink sets in. Because I remember doing it to a tank for Warhammer 40k with another similar well-boasted reputationed pen. And it didn't. It ran as soon as the protectorant went on. Oh, I forgot to mention another decal, right? So I keep talking about my Red Devils and everything like this, but it's like, you know, guys, I picture my Joe universe a little bit differently. I think in another video I explained what End State was, the story arc, the fan fictional kind of mindset I look at my Joes with, but he's got a little shoulder flash on there that I pulled out, and it's a bloody handprint, and under it's the number 707, but the O is replaced by a skull, and it's to denote a squadron of tanks he was a part of a mega battle with that they all lost, right? It's probably one of the few tank commanders that lived. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much that character right there. That's Steeler, as I envisioned it. And I'm just going to pop that helmet off because I'm still happy with just the way it is, even with the Band-Aid on him. I don't know. Any of those head options, those options are fine with me, I guess. But I'm eager to see what else I can get to the table. But on Colin Steeler, pretty much done for now. Reserving the right to dry brush the odd thing here and there as I see fit. But I'm not done with Steeler. I know that because I really need him to have a tank, right? So I was looking, guys. Here's just a little thing. There's that thing there. Leopard 1. Remember when I was walking around that base over Christmas, my base, CFB Edmonton, and I was showing you monuments of the tanks that we have retired and put up as monuments, right? There we are, firing tanks at ranges here in Canada. And here's one where we jump the tank and fire it every year up in Cagetown, New Brunswick, or at least we used to. It's quite the trick. I would never do it in an actual battle, but I mean, like, if we did, wow, eh? It's like right out of a bad action movie. You wouldn't think we actually tried it, but we tried it. And it's really just a show of force. But I don't know if I would want Steeler in me trying to find a scale tank with the detail I would want of a Leopard 2 would be rough. But here's my vehicles. These are my Coyotes, right? My Canadian surveillance platforms and recce vehicle. It's based off your Lav 25 Piranhas, but we replaced the Marine Drive with extra fuel cells, as you can see back at the back of the vehicle here. I'll use that. Canada replaced theirs with extra fuel cells to make it a long-range reconnaissance, right? And self-sustainable surveillance for OPs and things like that for weeks at a time. And just overall, you know, the tanks in Afghanistan had a lot of excess kit and survivability, and I feel like we need something different than a tank. This is the tank I keep coming back to. I was there for this tank, boys. It wasn't a pretty fight, but the might of the tanks, and I do want to try this graded armor plating on a Joe vehicle. So here's the vehicles I'm thinking about for Steeler. I could go with the Coyote. I could go. It's great for the point recce and like zone recce, route recce, all that good stuff. Right, you can go off. It's good motor vehicle, and it's small. That's a 4-man crew at best. It's not very big. It maybe be about twice the size of that, but it's been replaced, twice the size of the Vamp, I should say, maybe. It's been replaced by the TAP V. That's our new recce vehicle. The thing's got some problems, but it's got you know, a smaller weapon system, but the crew is much better off inside, man. As a crew commander who trained on the Coyote, on the Leopards, and all the other armored vehicles, the idea of a dry map on a rainy day is very appealing. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm studying. I'm trying to figure out which one I want for Steeler, but I might do some sort of conversion based off any of those if I can find the right chassis for it. But for now, he'll stay with my hovercraft, guys. So that's Steeler. Thanks very much. Don't forget, if you like this, hit like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna do some more, and we'll play a game like who that guy, who that guy. Who that guy? Because he's going to be done soon. And so I think I showed you Lady J's on her way. So we'll see you next time.